class. Today I want to show you about setting up a home studio. Now most of you probably don't have a whole lot of space to work in, so there's some things that you can do to make a good workspace in a small space. So here I just have a simple kitchen chair. Any chair will do as long as it has a back. It doesn't need to have arms. In fact, it's better if it doesn't have arms. And I'm going to start with this device right here. Now, we have some of these, we're going to have some of these for loan starting right after census, which is September 14th. And you can get these for yourself if you want to. They're about $13 off of Amazon. I'll send you the link via Canvas. You can simply also take a drawing board and lean it against the back of the chair. This is a little bit difficult because it's not as very stable and it's kind of far away, but it still will work. However, the easel's a lot better because it's going to hold the canvas, or the drawing board upright, and it's a lot more easy to move around. So it's a simple thing, but very effective. Put it right there. Notice how I bent that back down so it's a little more stable. So now I can pull that closer to me, and I'll put my drawing board on it. We'll also have drawing boards for you for loan. So if you can come by and do curbside pickup, we can loan you an easel and a drawing board. And for anybody that needs to have some extra paper, we do have some, not a lot, but we do have some in the classroom that we can give you for the rest of the semester. So the next thing I want to do is take my newsprint paper, put it on my easel, and flip over the top part like that. So perfect little space for drawing. Now you may wonder why we use such large paper in this class. There's a couple of reasons. One is that we want to develop a wider range of motion. A small piece of paper limits how large we make the lines that we make. So if I take my drawing pad here, grab a pencil, I tend to be a lot tighter if I'm drawing on a small surface, especially if I'm leaning it on my lap or on a table. Notice how I automatically go for what's called the pin position, or they call this also the tripod position, that locks your fingers around the tip of the pencil, and it tends to make you draw from your wrist. Notice how I have my wrist kind of planted on my drawing board. So what happens with this is I don't have a very wide range of motion, right? I'm not going to be able to get nice, smooth, straight lines. And what I end up with is what's called a hairy line. You can see that there. It's made up of a bunch of smaller lines, and it's just not a very effective line. So we want to learn to draw big with working from our shoulder rather than working from our wrist. Also, we're going to change the way we hold the pencil, and I think I've talked about this before, but this is where we're really going to start practicing this. Holding our pencil either like this or like this. This is probably a little easier. And then actually pulling lines across the page rather than pushing them. When you hold the pencil like this, you tend to push. So this is just a more effective position to work with. And the other reason why we used a larger paper is so that we can magnify things a little bit. You actually want to see your mistakes, right? Don't think of mistakes as bad. Mistakes are evidence that you're trying and that you're learning. So make mistakes. Just make as many as you need to. Another thing here is when I'm drawing, I don't want to be sitting sideways to the paper. I want to look directly at the paper like this, okay? So I'm not trying to angle myself. I want to look straight at the paper. And I'm just pulling some horizontal lines across the page. They're not perfect. They're not meant to be perfect. What I really want to try to do, though, is get this smooth from the shoulder line. So I'll do about 3 of those. And this is very similar to what we're going to be doing in our first exercise, so it's good practice. Another thing I want to learn how to do is to measure things roughly just by using my eye, not using a ruler, but just roughly guess where the center of this line is. When we work with proportion, which is relative scale, we want to be able to find the midpoint of things fairly easily. So it's good practice just to sort of like guesstimate. Is this the same as that? And if I draw another line right in the center of that, in the center of that, are these equal to each other? This is a way of creating sort of a grid, sort of an on-the-fly grid. So I'm not going to keep going much further here. The main thing I want to impart here is that, first of all, you can create a workable space in a small area. You can use your tabletops too. The only trouble I find with tabletops is that they put the easel a little too high for some people, and then you really have to reach up to get to the top of your paper. I like the chair because it's very portable, it's low, and it doesn't take up a lot of room. So that's the first thing. You can create a decent workspace. Second thing is, when you're working, don't hold your pencil like this. You want to hold it back. You want to work from your shoulder, okay? We want to develop the muscle memory in the shoulder because that's what's going to give you a nice fluid, workable line. Avoid the grip, the tripod grip, because that's going to give you the hairy line, right? You don't want hairy lines. It just takes forever to make them too. And then the third thing is we're just going to be practicing horizontal, and we'll practice some vertical lines too. Vertical lines are a little more difficult, but they're certainly doable. I'm just trying to make them right down the center of the page. Again, pull the line, don't push. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's all practice. We're trying to build up our physical skills as well as our perceptual skills to be able to draw accurately, but with some fluidity, not really tight. We save those details for later. Don't start your drawing with details because if you don't have your structure properly, you're not going to get a good result from that. Okay, so I think that's enough for today, or for right now, and I'll be showing you more about the first exercise when we get to our first class. And we'll let you know more about the curbside pickup, etc. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you online.